Set to go now in Week 6 of the NFL season, and we are underway on EA Sports.
This will make it into the end zone, and this will go as a touchback, and they will begin things at the 25.
And he's upended after a gain of 2 out to the 27. They'll break the huddle, come up on 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line.
It's 2nd and 8.
From the gun, it's Griffin. Looking left side, it's complete. He's got it. And he gets this one just shy of the 40. They'll mark him down at the 39. Now, after the completion, we're going to get a timeout, an injured player. While the training staff works on him, we'll step aside and be right back. So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10.
They'll run for the first time with Saquon Barkley.
And that didn't fool anybody. He's going to be dropped in the backfield. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
With his size, he's a tough man to bring down, but they do a nice job there stopping his progress and not allowing him to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Behind the chain, 2nd and 12.
From the shotgun, Griffin. And that is incomplete. A lot of force bearing down on him there. He could not hang on. It's 3rd down. On 3rd down, Griffin. Oh, and this ball's tipped and intercepted. Picked off around the 41. And he'll take this all the way down inside the 40. Thought he had the pick. Flag comes in for PI, so cancel it out.
Interference. Oh, a killer for them. Thought they had a nice play. Instead, they'll be marching off yardage against them.
The throw over the middle taken in. They'll contain him to just 4. 2nd down.
Number 84. 4 yards on the pickup. 2nd and 6. At the Falcons' 40.
Now they'll run it on the toss.
And he's able to break out of 1 tackle, but then quickly brought down.
2 yards the gain there, and now they're left with a 3rd and about 4 for a first.
In today's NFL, you hear all the time about stretching the field and creating space in order to run plays. A toss play will help accomplish that because now you're pushing a defense to chase you all the way to the edges and to the sideline. That's a nice run, probing now early to try and get things done later.
And they can't get rid of it. He's taken down.
A 3-yard loss on the play.
Okay, was it a breakdown in protection? Did the running back not pick him up? What does it really matter? Sometimes it's just a great play made by the defense. Big-time sack.
So on now is the Clemson man, Bradley Pinion, to punt this one away. And he gets it away, a directional kick going toward the sideline. So here come the Falcons now to get the football for the first time. And they will be led out by their 6'4" quarterback.
And bottom line, when you're the starting QB, what is it?
Get the W.
Get the W.
They did that last week.
Right, got that done. Wasn't always pretty. There were some great moments. He threw 4 touchdown passes.
But got to eliminate those mistakes.
Got to take care of that because otherwise that can come back and bite him in another ball game.
The first play of the drive there is incomplete. Line of scrimmage to the 31 as they line up 2nd and 10.
By Keanu Neal.
Whoosh.
Well, he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. He's able to rip off 32 on that one. It's a first down. The safeties were well back there, and he had a lot of room. Were they in the cover too?
Yeah, they were, and the safeties were back. You know, usually they're 12 to 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, somewhere around the hash mark for each of them. But what also happens if the linebackers dive into the line, if you block them initially, that blocker can come off of them and get up to the safeties on the second level, and now you've got a big place to run the football.
able to intercept it. That's one he would have liked to have held on to on this first drive. Instead, second down.
It's now second.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes. But the best part for him, he's got second and third down to fall back on.
And he's going to be stopped just short of the first down marker at the Vikings 28. 9 yards, not quite enough, and they'll be left now with 3rd and 1. And to give this time to the tailback.
That was a really nice job by them picking up the run blitz and detecting it and blocking it and turning it into a nice run. And a lot of times you think if you blitz a running play, you're going to smother it. But a lot of the blitzers, they come in a little bit high. They don't have great leverage, and they're easily blocked and turned to the side.
Now a play fake here on first down. And he slings one that's incomplete. So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on first down.
Makes it 2nd and 10 at the 23-yard line.
4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Taken down at the 19-yard line. It's a gain of 4. And it's 3rd down.
Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. Rush coming, and he's taken down. Keanu Neal with a safety blitz for the sack.
Well, it's about how teams are so competitively matched, and you just want to make those plays that give you an advantage. How about right here? The difference between letting them score a touchdown versus holding them to a field goal, that's absolutely huge with the play he just made.
And you know he hated taking the loss there on 3rd down.
Field goal forthcoming for Stephen Hauschka. From the left hash mark, this a 43-yard attempt. And the 12-year veteran knocks it right through. And the Falcons are out to a 3-0 advantage.
Vikings, nothing.
In the end, the opening drive, Charles, does yield points. Maybe not the touchdown that they wanted, though.
Yeah, but bottom line, they wanted to get something out of that drive, and they did that. 3 points, they won't turn that down at all.
And he's up past the 20 to the 22-yard line.
The Vikings take over 1st and 10 at their own 22-yard line.
The Vikings ready to go again on offense.
They've shown precious little here offensively thus far as they try again with a first down now. They'll start out on the ground. It's Saquon Barkley. And he's able to plow forward up to about the 29, just shy of the 30. 7 yards on the pickup there, and it'll leave him with a 2nd and 3.
It's a gain of 7.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And nothing doing. He's immediately taken down at the line of scrimmage.
28, the ball carrier.
Calling no gain that time as it's going to leave him with a 3rd and about 3 to go. He's able to get it to the 33. Good enough for a first down. They're able to convert with a gain of 4.
On 3rd down, that's a good job of situational football and understanding where the first down marker was and getting there.
So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he is met at the line of scrimmage, and he goes down right there. Officially no gain on the play, and it's 2nd down.
Brings up 2nd and 10 at the 30.
Now they'll throw it with Griffin. He'll buy some time right. And now he's going to use his legs. And he'll have it past midfield almost to the 40 before being taken down. That one good for 26 and a first down.
Partner, it's often the man coverage is easier for a quarterback to run against. You get your receivers going downfield. Those guys are staying with them, and oftentimes they have their back to the quarterback, which opens up a lot of space and room, and they don't even know that he's taken off with it. What a big-time pickup on that play.
All runs on this drive so far. It's 1st and 10. And to give this time to the tailback.
And this one's going to go the wrong way. Losing yardage back at the 42. He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
That was well played there defensively. 2 tight ends in the formation, which essentially gave them 7 blockers up front. Hard to imagine with all that size and beef that they could let a tackler through, but that's exactly what happened. A loss resulted.
On 2nd and 11 now. Griffin, and a quick throw here, that's complete. And that's going to be good for another first down as the tackle's made at the Falcons' 30. Give him 12 yards on that one. It earns him a fresh set of downs. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll get about 3 as he's brought down to the 28.
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly a win-win, but if you're on offense, you'll take that kind of a run, all right? It was kind of stacked up, found a little bit of yardage, and frankly, they're pretty close to staying on schedule on offense. The playbook is still open for the coordinator.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 11 yards there, first down. Now, look, that wasn't a huge gain, but those are the types of carries I think they were missing in their loss last week. They couldn't get him going on the ground.
Did you get the same feeling I did during our meetings, that they kind of regretted that he didn't touch the ball?
Absolutely.
You know, hey, he should have touched it more last week. They weren't going to make that same mistake, and they've taken care of that early.
First red zone chance now for the Vikings. They've got a 1st and 10 at the 17. Here's Griffin, and he finds his tight end, Graham. And he'll get him inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. 3 yards the gain there, 2nd down. The numbers in last week's game for Graham. 6 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown.
Better tighten up the coverage if you expect to slow this guy down, because if he gets going, he'll eat you up.
And he stopped immediately there. Officially no gain on the play, and they're left with a 3rd and 8. If you're going to run against this unit, especially down here, just beware. I mean, they're the top rushing defense in the league.
Yeah,
and he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. Saquon Barkley, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Vikings have taken the lead. There are several elements to a well-executed screen pass. This one resulted in a touchdown. It had all of those elements.
Yeah, you're so right, because you really need the rush to almost get to the quarterback, almost get to the passer. Then you've got to get the ball thrown perfectly, whether it's to the running back, the wide receiver, whoever the screen guy is. And, of course, the blocking has to form in front to get him downfield for the touchdown.
Extra point up and good by Sanders. And that makes it a 7-3 lead. Touchdown, ready to kick it away is Sanders. And up to about the 26-yard line, just across the 25.
1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line.
So for the 2nd time in this one, we get set to see the Falcons offense. And after the field goal last time, we'll see what they can get here. At least they got points out of the last drive, Charles.
I've never met an offensive coach that didn't want to drive to end with a kick. Most of them want to end with a PAT, right? In this case, a field goal, they'll take it. Way better than the alternative, which is a punt.
Yeah, but you met fan bases that wanted that weren't happy with that field goal.
I haven't met a fan base yet that wants to drive to end with a kick, other than the extra point. That's it.
And to give this time to the tailback. And he'll be brought down right around the 37. They'll get 3 as the drive continues. It's a 1st down. These are his numbers from last week's contest. 21 carries, 83 yards.
And give him a ton of credit. He's running the ball really well. But I look at those guys up front. That unit is truly playing as just that. Every move that they make, their teammate understands what that move means and what they need to do. And right now, they're starting to grind it out pretty well.
2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
I think sometimes when you're trying to get after the quarterback, maybe it's better to be lucky than great. because I think on that one, he's just trying to get upfield and rush the passer. Instead, the tackle for the loss landed right in his lap.
Second and 12. Now they'll throw here out of the gun. He's going to find his running back. It's complete. And he'll work free from one tackle, but that's about all as he's taken down. I'll call it a gain of 5. And just like that, it's third down. And the throw there going to be incomplete.
Forced to the ground and incomplete. Brings up fourth down.
On fourth down, here's Jamie Gillen on to punt. And the win last week punted 4 times as this one's away. After one, 7-3 the score on EA Sports.
7, Falcons 3.
The Minnesota offense about ready to get this next drive underway. Last time they were out here, they had the benefit of good field position, led to a touchdown. This time, they're going to have to work for it.
They are, but with that last drive that culminated in a touchdown, I think they carry that confidence into this one. Doesn't matter where you start with the football now, they have to feel great about their opportunity. This defense is really flown around in the first half. They've gotten to the ball carrier before they can really get started. Offense going to have to come up with something else in order to try and get this running game going.
First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's second and 12. Out of the gun, Griffin steps away to his, and he's going to have to eat this one as down he goes.
Griffin sacked.
Now Charles dealing with a third and long. They'll have to try to go back to the air again, and this time avoid the sack.
Certainly hard to try to establish momentum when all you're doing is going backwards, not protecting the passer, and he gets dumped on his backside.
The Vikings on third down. They've been okay, 2 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 14. To throw is RG3. Dance. Oh, pressure too great, and he goes down once more.
A loss of 5.
That's 3 sacks now, and that's not much of a surprise to me, nor should it be to you. This team, they lead the league in sacks.
Yeah, they do. This is something that we are starting to witness time and time again. Here's Bradley Pinion now as he'll punt it away for the second time. That'll be put in the books as a 53-yard punt. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. The Falcons offense set to go. They punted last time they had it. What steps, Charles, you think they have to take to make sure they don't do that again?
Well, let's just go to the football 101, the trade expression 101. Win first down. Make 5, 6, 7 yards on first down and make it a 2nd and 3, 2nd and manageable. Keep accumulating first downs that way. Keep moving the football. Don't want to get behind the sticks because then the defense has the advantage.
And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. Rookie to rookie on the hook up there, and it's a first down.
But one of the ways that quarterbacks keep all the receivers alive in a play, never lock in on any one guy. Make sure you keep your eyes moving, scan the field. And here he finds the open guy for a nice pickup.
They'll look to throw here on first down. Looking for his running back, and he's got him. And he'll go out of bounds right around the 40. 3 yards the gain there, second down.
All defenses worry that whenever anyone catches the ball and has a head of steam come out of the backfield, it can turn into a big play with missed tackles or he runs through people. But they were right there waiting, and they stopped him for a minimal gain.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll lose yardage here, back at the 41. It'll be a loss of a couple on the play, so now third down coming up.
I like the strategy. Extra tight ends, extra beef. They want to run the football, but that means they probably want to run it inside. If you get strung out on the perimeter, you're in peril.
Yeah, we saw the result, negative yardage. The Falcons on third down. Just 1 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 9. From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. And that is incomplete.
You can tell they wanted to get that ball downfield. They had nothing working in the secondary, so he dropped it off to the running back. That one ended up incomplete.
Here's Jamie Gillen now as he's on to punt for Atlanta. No returning this one. It sails out of bounds, and they'll spot it right at the 20.
At their own
A look at the running back, the man out of the backfield as he gears up to go again. He's hoping to get it going. They're hoping to get him going, too. You know, he's about ready to pop one here in the second quarter. He's hoping.
And his offensive line teammates, they want to get one of those, too, because they want to continue to run the football. Most offensive linemen like that part of the game better than pass protection because they're not taking blows. They're actually dealing them out. So what they want to do is show the coaches, hey, if we pop one, we're having success. That way they won't go away from the running game.
He'll be hoping to pop one, break one here this go-around. The first down run got 5. Here's 2nd and 5. Operating from the gun. Griffin is caught outright by Graham. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. 12 yards there and a first down.
1st and 10 at the 36-yard line.
From the gun, Griffin gets this out to Saquon Barkley. It's a gain of 7, and it's a second down.
Well, just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
Looking to throw again on second down. Griffin. And this one incomplete. Too much contact to hold on to that one, and it's 3rd down.
Brings up 3rd down and 3.
Griffin now to throw on 3rd down. And he comes back with one complete. And he will have a Vikings first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. A big one there on 3rd down. They hit for 30 yards.
Oftentimes now, offenses aren't nearly as precise as days gone by. They just tell receivers, find an open patch of grass and let the quarterback find you. And that's exactly what they did on that play. First with the pass through the air, nice chunk of yardage there, and then additional pickup with his legs after the catch.
So now then, the big play has him all the way inside the 30 now, 1st and 10. A give to Barkley out of the gun. And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. 8 yards the tally on that first down run. Here's 2nd and 2.
8 yards on the pickup. Brings up
now a handoff here to his running back. And there just continues to be nowhere to run. He's bottled up again at the line of scrimmage.
Right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Makes it 3rd and 2.
Play action. Now Griffin. And that will be incomplete.
That's a good job there creating the contact to force the incompletion. And now since it's 4th down, that should set up a field goal situation.
And a nice sigh of relief defensively to be able to hold them to 3.
Makes the score Vikings 10, Falcons 3.
So the drive stalls out inside the 15-yard line, but they do get 3.
And I've talked with enough players nowadays, and when they have these types of kicks, that no one says to their guy, hey, that's just like making an extra point, piece of cake. Because the extra point is not a piece of cake anymore. But kicking a field goal from that distance, just give him confidence and let him knock it through.
Atlanta prepped and readied for its next possession. Just a lone field goal for them so far, trailing 10-3 as they come up 1st and 10. And to give this time to the tailback. He takes this for 3 to the 29.
Number 1, the ball carrier.
The last run got 3. Now here's 2nd and 7.
Well, from an offensive perspective, that was a tough run because he only picked up 3 yards. Well, let's flip it over to the defensive side. They now have the advantage. 3 3-yard gains. That means they're punting the ball likely on 4th down. That's what you're looking for when you're playing defense.
3rd down.
They'll look to throw here. They'll try and set up the screen. It's complete. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. Rookie quarterback, rookie running back. They team up there to pick up the first.
Let's give a little credit there. The offensive play caller sensed that the screen pass was available. Whenever you're getting a lot of heavy pressure towards your quarterback, that's when you're thinking about running the screen and using that pressure against the defense. And it worked very well there for a first down.
Now an option play, and he'll keep it. And he'll be brought down, losing yardage back at the 40. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12. Well, sometimes that option can get bogged down before the gears really even get into motion, and I think that's what we saw there.
And I think what he saw defensive end right in his face because he looked up and he was right there. Didn't even have a chance to get going.
A play-action fake. They'll look to throw. Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Well, they go play fake. The problem is nobody was faked out.
And when no one's faked out, what's the end result? Quarterback gets hit.
Falcons on 3rd down. 2 for 5 to this point. This is 3rd and 17. Out of the gun. They'll look to throw. Under pressure again, and down he goes again. Solomon Thomas, they love to see that from him as he slips in for the sack.
I'm starting to feel for that quarterback back there. I mean, you know me. Normally, don't have a lot of empathy for the QB, right? In this case, definitely. He's been on constant duress this entire game. I don't know how he's surviving back there.
And to think, there's still a long way to go in this football game. Here's Jamie Gillen now as he's on to punt for Atlanta. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. Big boot that time. 57 yards the official distance. And the Vikings will take over here 1st and 10. And now out comes Minnesota. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking, and I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
2nd and 4.
That's a staple of this offense. Drag route to the tight end.
Yeah, he's unable to use his size to break off much more yardage after the catch, but still an effective gain nonetheless.
6 yards was the pickup on the last completion, so here's 2nd and 4. Operating from the gun. Griffin. And he'll get this underneath, dropping it off for Barkley. And he's able to get out to the 32, brought down there. 6 yards the pickup, and that's a first down. Play action. It's Griffin.
That was a pretty favorable situation there. What would you call that? 2nd and manageable? Smart play, too. Didn't force it downfield when he didn't have it. Just checked it down, let him get the first down, and that's exactly what he did.
On the move to his left. Now he'll pull it down. He turned that into a nice gain. Gets him 8 yards closer for 3rd down. Our score 10-3 with 2 minutes remaining in quarter number 2. And we'll remind you that coming up at halftime, we'll join Jonathan Coachman and the gang in Orlando. Coach will have stats and scores from the early games going on here around the NFL. Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off near the 32. And he's going to take this one back to the 37-yard line.
10-10.
He's had it again, Charles. He had the pick six last week. Not a pick six here, but an interception.
It's another Oski, because that's the word we use when we intercept a pass. Oski tells your team to rally around and block for you. Well, that worked really well last week because he made it all the way to the end zone. This week he got the Oski, maybe not a touchdown, but boy, he's playing really well.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. On play action, they'll throw. Firing quickly here, and that's complete.
The pass.
It'll be a pickup of 10 yards. And it'll be second and very short.
It's second and inches. At the Vikings.
And it's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And he'll be brought down at the 21, just shy of the 20 in the red zone.
It's a gain of
6 yards the pickup, and that's a first down. And he's got his man out of the backfield. That's complete. And he's down inside the 5 at the 4 before he's out of bounds. Now they'll have it 1st and goal following that gain of 17. This offense can certainly move quickly when they want to. 3 plays, 3 pass completions. In the blink of an eye, they've got it 1st and goal.
Almost felt like a lightning bolt hit in this game, didn't it? For them to get downfield that quickly. And now 1st and goal, expect them to attack right here on this play.
A chance now to get even before the break as they come up 1st and goal. They'll look to throw again. And this is caught for a Falcon touchdown. From 4 yards out. Well, the Falcons are an extra point away from tying the football game. There was a lot of zip on that pass, and baseball might have called that a frozen rope.
I like it when you bring the diamond into the game. I'm going back to the gridiron. Had some heat on that bad boy. Sometimes you throw a touchdown pass, and sometimes
you throw, what, a touchdown strike?
There you go. That's my man, in concert.
And he'll put it through, and that evens us up at 10 apiece. Just a 4-play drive that time. And the Falcons score to cap it off. All level now at 10 apiece as the kick's away. That'll be taken about a yard deep. And ultimately, he stopped right where he would have been if he had simply gone down to a knee at the 25. Minnesota now ready for their next possession. They had the interception on the last drive, which led to the tying touchdown. So 10-10 the score as they begin 1st and 10. They go back to the air here after the INT on the last drive. And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down.
2 sacks last week, another one right here. He's been unblockable lately, and I think that goes all the way back to not just his offseason, but the film study he's been doing during the week, because I think he's found matchups that he likes, and he's capitalizing.
You know, a few times he's even defeated double teams. He doesn't care at this point. Sacks, a growing theme in this first half. This is 2nd and long. Another try after the first down sack. Griffin, and that's incomplete. Clock stops with 10 seconds left.
Richie James, incomplete.
This time they stay on the ground. And they will bottle him up behind the line, and now will they use a timeout? And they're going to take a timeout defensively. So with 4th down coming up, they go ahead and burn it and say we'll see what happens. The punt team on now as Pinion sends this one away. He knocks him back. So we have reached halftime here at a good one. 10-10 is our score. As we'll send you down to Orlando, we check in with Jonathan Coachman for our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
All right, Brandon, thanks. A few teams starting to rise to the top as it's time to take you around the NFL here in Week 6. We'll begin up at Bank of America Stadium in Uptown Charlotte. And they have just about gone to halftime with the Panthers out on top. The Panthers looking to sew that one up, and they look to be in pretty good shape. Next, we head north to Philly to check on the Eagles at home at Lincoln Financial Field. and they've got the lead in that one over the visiting Baltimore Ravens. Dak Prescott has thrown a touchdown pass. Finally, let's get to Indianapolis to check on the Colts at home at Lucas Oil Stadium. And for the moment, they find themselves trailing the visiting Cincinnati Bengals. 2 touchdown passes there for the former MVP, Matt Ryan. Meanwhile, in our game, it's been as tight as we expected, all tied through one half of play. For the call of the second half, let's get it back to Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. And ready to get the party started for the second half. It was an even first half, all tied on the scoreboard. And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27.
Take over first and 10 at their own 27-yard line.
Atlanta now coming out on the field. Their defense has done the job. Now it's the offense's turn as they've got it first and 10. They'll start the third quarter here on the ground. And he powers his way up past the 30. The safety, Keanu Neal, there to make the tackle.
Brought him down.
2nd and 6. Quick hitter here, it's complete. That catch good for 5. It's third down.
In so many ways, throwing the hitch route is actually one of the safer things an offense can do. Get the ball out to the receiver as fast as possible, hope he's got man-to-man coverage, and hope that his athleticism wins on the perimeter.
Now they try the right side here. Now that play is blown up, losing yardage back at the 35. That'll back them up 2 yards and also bring up 4th.
Part of the thinking when you bring in extra tight ends, you're hoping that each of your guys gets those one-on-one blocks and creates a crease for your runner. You know what the converse is, though? You've got to win those one-on-one blocks, and when you don't, that's the result you end up with.
Here's Jamie Gillen now as he'll punt it away for the 4th time today. And this one hits at the 3 and then bounds into the end zone for a touchback.
At their own 20-yard line.
It's the Vikings' turn on offense. We get ready for their first possession of the second half. And our game's hit a little bit of a lull here, a little bit of a snag. Punts on back-to-back drives.
And old-school coaches don't necessarily mind that. Didn't turn it over, right? Didn't create a big play for the other team. Right now what you're looking for is can you gain an advantage in field position? And that's what both teams are seeking right now.
Yeah, they'll be seeking to gain that advantage here on this drive.
Brandon, 5 yards on that run. Let's get back to the huddle and make sure if you're back, you spend time with your offensive line and give them credit. Hard to move those 300-plus pounders at the line of scrimmage, and they did for a significant chunk of yardage.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he's able to get out to the 32, brought down there. 7 yards there and a first down. From the gun, Griffin. Got a man, that's Rashard Higgins. This will be stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2.
Second and 2.
Facing a 2nd and 2 after that last catch, good for 8 yards. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50.
I think they like this drive a little bit better there, partner. Running game helping out, picking up some of the slack. Because remember the last drive, they went 3 and out.
Falcon territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. And to give this time to the tailback. Call it a gain of 4 on 1st, and that'll make it 2nd down.
Well, at the end of all that hitting and hollering, it was a 4-yard run, so the offense is going to go back to huddle and feel pretty good about themselves. Defensively, You have to feel okay because you didn't let it turn into a bigger run, but the goal, shut it down for 2 yards or less. That's when you start to feel good about yourselves.
It's just a gain of a couple there on the scramble, and now it's third down.
At the 43-yard line. It's a gain of 2. Brings up 3rd and 5.
Operating from the gun, Griffin. That's complete. He's got Barkley out of the backfield. And he'll go out of bounds after taking it a little further down inside the 40. Give him 7 yards on the play as they do pick up the third down conversion.
They certainly had success throughout this contest getting him the ball in the passing game, and there he picks up another first down. Whatever they saw going into this one, they've been able to capitalize on it, and no adjustment has been made to take it away.
Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11.
It always helps when you get great run support from your safeties, and when you get one who can actually read the play and get upfield and shut it down before it gets going, that's exactly what you're looking for.
Maybe just a slight detour on what's been a strong drive. Here's 2nd and 11. From the gun, Griffin. And a quick throw here, that's complete. That one good for 10 yards. And they'll be faced with a 3rd and inches.
Third down.
Great change up there on the route and got that inside release, made it a successful pitch and catch.
Well, the first thing you want to do is have him thinking that you're going outside, make a move in that direction. Then you really don't run the route against the whole body of the defender. You run against a half of him, and the inside half, and he took it right across his face, got inside, and won that route in a big way.
Here's Griffin to throw. And able to find Graham, complete. And he will have a Vikings first down as they're able to get the third down conversion. He'll get 15 and a Vikings first down.
And that was good protection there. No, that was great protection there because it allowed him to lock in on his receiver. Although I think he was looking for his tight end on the corner route all the way. Nice connection there for a really nice gain.
Now a 1st and 10 at the 11. Griffin. This is caught. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. Give him 10 yards on the pickup, and that'll make it 2nd and a foot or so.
I think a lot of people ask the same question all the time.
And he'll get it in. Touchdown, Minnesota. James Olawale, his first touchdown on the year. And the Vikings are going to take the lead. And from the 1-yard line, they didn't try and reinvent the wheel, do anything cute. They just gave it to the big back.
You almost get the sense that if you can't get it in from the 1-yard line with your big guy carrying the football, you'll question yourself the rest of the day. They got it done.
Sanders now to add the extra point. He's got it as they go up by a total of 17-10. So that drive, 12 plays in length, and it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run. Now after the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Sanders. That'll be taken about a yard deep. And he'll be stopped right around where he would have been had he gone down to a knee, maybe a yard shy of there at the 24-yard line. Here comes the Atlanta offense now ready to take over here. These guys had to punt their last possession, and that's become too familiar of a refrain. Too many of these drives just wound up going nowhere.
Well, you know how in baseball when the pitcher gets a base hit and he's on base, they bring his jacket out to him to keep him warm? A lot of times the punter goes to the sideline, puts on sweatpants or a wrap over his leg to keep it warm. He might need a massage from the trainer right now from all the work he's getting.
And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. First play of the drive, a success, 19 yards. You know, despite the scoreline, I think they've got to like where they are here. They're on the road and just one big play away from getting right back in this game.
I'm going to follow right along with you because the spot they're in now is a credit to their defense. They've kept them in it by making the plays that they've made, and that just means you're one big score away from being right back there.
Now the question is, can this offense step up and make that play? Because that's been an issue for them in this game. Took just one play to move all the way to the 44 as they try again on first down. Now flags come flying in. One of the Falcons moved early. Maybe anticipating a blitz, and they jumped.
Yeah, and if we saw it, you know that they saw it. The bad guys might have been coming on that play. Had to pick them up, and they jumped.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 37-yard line. Keanu Neal, strong in run support as he comes up from his safety position and popping behind the line.
Well, partner, I guess sometimes it's just a matter of philosophy. Some say run until they absolutely stop you, and others say, well, when you think they're about to stop you, fool them a little bit. I guess they should have tried to fool them on that play.
A hole to dig out of here, 2nd and 17. So it looks like somebody may have forgotten the snap count, and a 5-yard penalty ensues.
Offense.
Now they nab the rookie there for the 5-yard penalty.
So much going through his head. You know it just has to be, right? All of his assignments and realizing every game he plays, one of the better players in the league will be opposite him.
And hard running's going to get him over the 40 to the 42.
He's brought down.
These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. And he will get this to the midfield stripe, but that's not going to be enough. He's a few yards short. They do get 9, but it leads to 4th down.
So much about this game is just understanding situations and then having to execute, isn't it? Guard the first down sticks. Don't let them get there. And they rallied and made the tackle.
Here's Jamie Gillen down. They'll boot it away from about his 35. This is away and a very good kick angled for the sidelines.
The Vikings take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard.
So here are the Vikings to take over. They're on top here as they come up on a 1st and 10, trying to make amends for that loss week at the hands of Seattle. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
That's a play to take note of there for the defense, I think, in the future. If you're going to try and block him, maybe you get a guard to help double team him and try and steer him out of the play. They should have done it on that snap.
After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. And to give this time to the tailback. Limited running room as he'll get about 3 to the 21.
Carried by number 28. Tackle made at the 21-yard line.
On 3rd down, Griffin. And that is incomplete.
So many times when we talk about coverage, we're just about a defender running with a receiver, but a big part of it is understanding where the football is, finding it. In this case, when it arrived, it wasn't a surprise, and he was able to bat it away.
51 yards on the punt there. And the Falcons will be taking over 1st and 10. Atlanta prepped and readied for its next possession. The crowd may be losing just a little bit of the edge after back-to-back punts.
They want some big plays. They want to see some offense. They want to see somebody break away, whether it's through the air or on the ground. Now it'll be interesting to see where the patience is on both sides. Each head coach, can you hang in there and not try and force something that could put your team in some jeopardy?
It's a pickup of 4, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
4 yards on the pickup. 2nd and 6.
There's a ball thrown right side and complete. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. 12 yards there and a 1st down.
1st down, Atlanta.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he's got it across the midfield stripe and into Viking territory. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on 1st down.
A gain of 5 brings up 2nd and 5.
Now a handoff here to his running back.
And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. A gain of 13. It's a first down.
Boy, where would these guys be without his performance on the ground? That puts him over 100 yards now for the afternoon, and I tell you, he seems to be getting stronger as the day goes along.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. And they give this time to the tailback. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11.
At the Vikings, 38-yard line.
And they're not going to get to the line to run another play. So we will switch ends as the third quarter has come to a close. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports. 38-yard line, 2nd and 11. Now they'll switch it up here and look to throw. Throwing into traffic there, and that's complete. And this is going to turn into another first down as the tackle is made at the Vikings 26.
Falcons.
He'll drop to throw. And he's going to find his man out of the backfield. That's complete. They get him to the ground right on the cusp of the red zone after a pickup of 5 or 6.
Brings up 2nd and 4 at the 20-yard line.
He's going to hit his man out of the backfield. Complete. The Falcons on 3rd down. They've struggled to the tune of 2 for 8 so far. They need just a yard here. It's 3rd and 1. He rifles one that's intercepted. Picked up by Keanu Neal. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back. Those INTs all sting, but you throw one in the red zone, I think especially as a rookie, maybe it stings a little bit more.
I think what you're saying is they don't all count the same, do they? Right? Interceptions in the red zone that you've given up points now, those are precious. So you have to learn from those and in a hurry.
Now the Minnesota offense set to take over again. Another important fourth quarter series coming up. That last INT helping to maintain their slim advantage. He's going to take off with it. Nice work to get 7 out of that, and it's 2nd down.
Tackle made at the 21-yard line. It's a gain of 7. Brings up 2nd and 3.
Griffin now off the bootleg. He's going to find his running back. It's complete. Call it a 1-yard gain of the play, and they're going to have a 3rd down.
Behind the line of scrimmage.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he's able to pick up the first down here before he goes down at the 26. A gain of 4 that time as the drive continues.
Well, it is our business to analyze what we saw out there. And on that play, I saw a defense staying in base, not taking a chance, not blitzing in a situation where they absolutely need the football back. That's either a case of overthinking it or not thinking it through.
If you do blitz, do you have to be careful about where you're coming from, or are you just coming from all angles?
You have to be careful about where you're coming from, obviously. But at this stage, you have to take a few chances as well.
A first down carry for Barkley. There'll be a pickup of 10 yards. And that'll bring up a 2nd and just about a few inches here.
10 yards on the pickup. It's 2nd and...
From the shotgun, Griffin. Quick hitter here, it's complete. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. 12 yards there and a first down.
1st and 10 at the 48-yard line.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. 2nd and right at a yard.
Taken down.
The last run got 9. That leaves him with 2nd and a yard.
If you can keep getting gains like that, Charles, with the lead here in the fourth quarter, I mean,
pressure brought in, and the Falcons get there for the sack. Great job defensively. I think he was trying to go through his progressions, find someone to get rid of the football. Before he knew it, he was on his back.
So that just brings us right back to what you said in the beginning. A great job defensively. Nowhere to go with the football. That led to the sack.
Play number 7 now coming up on the drive. 3rd and 5. From the gun, it's Griffin. And pressure gets to him again.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
Here's Bradley Pinion now, as he's on for the 5th time here today. And he deserves a bronze leg as he gets this one away.
The Falcons take over 1st and 10 at their own 20.
Here comes the Falcon offense now as they get set to take over here. And the interception thrown in the red zone last time. We'll see if they can rebound.
I just have to think the last thing he said as they went back out there was, don't do that again. What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that. I think that not only did he say that, but he also told him, let's put it in the end zone that it's supposed to be in, all right? The end zone we're trying to score. I know we're being a little bit facetious here, but the bottom line is take care of the football, and everything else should flow from there.
Quick lesson, never ask the play-by-play guy a question.
Hey, you're my partner. I know you're right there with me.
Tell you what, he's been able to put the ball in some tight spots all game long. That throw, no different.
Yeah, a lot of people would call it a gutsy type of a throw. I think he looks at it as, I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm going to keep firing.
One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. And to give this time to the tailback. And he'll take this one up close to about the 45. Malik Jackson there to make the stop.
A gain of 2 brings up 2nd and 8.
Here's 2nd and 8. Throwing middle, and it's complete. And this is going to turn into another 1st down as the tackle is made at the Vikings 43. They pick up 12 on the play there, and they move the chains. The drive continues as they search for a tying touchdown. Here's 1st and 10. Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. Going to throw right side here, complete. And here he'll be brought down a little shy of the 35 at the 36.
A 7-yard.
One thing I think that's safe to say defensively, the tackling's been really good.
And because of that, it's been very, very hard for them to move the ball because you're not getting the benefits of run after catch. They're tackling them almost on the spot. That means you have to run extra plays, harder to move it.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. That'll go as a loss of 5. And that'll bring up a 3rd down.
We knew both of these safeties were good in run support, but how about the play we just saw there? How about that closing speed? Able to get to the outside part of the field and turn that play into a loss.
The Falcons on 3rd down. Not so hot. 2 for 9 to this point. This is 3rd and 8. Now they'll throw here out of the gun. Looking for his running back, and he's got it. And past the 35, he'll be dropped a yard or 2 shy of the 30. 10 yards there and a 1st down for the Falcons. Well, that's now 4 completions in a row. A good bounce back following the interception last drive.
Certainly not letting it affect him, that's for sure. And we all know interceptions are going to happen. So the big trick, don't let it affect you going forward. Most of the good quarterbacks, they just tell the ball boy, get that one out of the rotation, give me a fresh ball, and let's go. He's got his offense moving again.
Now on 1st down, he'll drop to throw it. And a quick throw here, that's complete. He'll be dropped at the 25 after a gain of 6.
It's a pickup of 6.
2nd and 4. And that'll be incomplete. Took a pretty good shot as he tried to pull that one in.
Couldn't hang on third down.
When you run in the slant, timing is everything, and against that man coverage, there was no space available, and incompletion as a result.
They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw. And he'll drop it underneath to Goldman. And he's going to be taken down here still a couple yards short of the first.
A gain of 3 yards.
Offensively, that's the mismatch that you want. You want to force a linebacker to try and cover your back out of the backfield, out in some open space. But linebackers nowadays, they run like backs, and they take a lot of pride in covering. What a nice play he made there in the open field.
One score down. Here we go. They're going to go for it here on fourth down. Got to try it here. He's back to throw. And it's incomplete. They cannot convert, and they turn it over. Boy, it looked like he had it and dropped it. And the Vikings defense is going to get the football back. And he'll have a tough time living that one down. It's one thing, Charles, to drop a pass. It's quite another to drop it on fourth down.
And so many teams work on that in terms of locking in on those key downs. You know, I've seen, you and I have both been to practices where we've seen, hey, third down situation, big third down alert, lock in here, fourth down play, make sure you focus just a little bit extra. It didn't pay off in that situation. Another nice pickup through the air, and I think a lot of people might expect him to run the ball in this situation, Brandon, but with this lead, they're electing to throw the football. Swings, slants, quick outs, things that they consider safe.
They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. And not going to be able to push this forward. He runs into a wall right at the line of scrimmage. They've called his number a lot this afternoon. You wonder how much tread is left on those tires.
We certainly do, but I always think back to one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, and he used to have a meeting with his running backs every year in the offseason and say, look, as many times as you're going to carry the ball, you should be able to carry it one more time, so make sure you get in shape.
Fourth quarter, down to the final 2 minutes, and we've got a one-score game. So the Vikings in possession of the football as we get you reset. And let's see what they've come up with offensively after having time to talk it over. It'll be a 51-yard punt that time. And out will come the offense as they take over. So all eyes on the Falcons. Trailing 17-10. And time, a huge factor. Their undefeated season, it's in danger unless they can score here as they've got a 1st and 10. Back to throw. And he's got his man out of the backfield. That's complete. And he is brought down at the 22 after a gain of 2, and it brings up second down. Now this throw caught left side. And they're going to get this beyond the 40 before he's taken down. And he's got his favorite target yet again. It's complete. And he'll go out of bounds. It appears right at the 45.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack as a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
He's back to throw. And it's a short one here, complete to his tight end. Now the Falcons going to use one of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with just over a minute to go in the game. And the throw there going to be incomplete. This secondary as a unit, they worked really well together in this one, especially late.
A lot of cohesiveness, a lot of communication, and some great athleticism. They're playing so well now, a nickname is sure to follow. They're going to have to name this whole unit soon.
Down 7, and they've got to go for it here on fourth down. He'll look to throw. And that is
Complete. They had to go for it with such little time remaining. And the Vikings, they have the football now in excellent field position. So now let's reset here, Charles. They do have 2 timeouts left, so they can stop the clock twice. This one's not quite over yet.
No, and what you're doing on defense, you're going to use both timeouts, obviously. But you've got to call defenses are going to force the issue early, meaning you want that play over fast. You don't want to give them time to dance around in the backfield or run a wide sweep that'll take off time. Blitz them, put pressure on them, make sure that play ends quickly so that you can go ahead and keep moving.
The Falcons going to use the second of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds left to go in the game. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he's going to be stopped up at about the 47-yard line. The Falcons going to use their third and final timeout as they get the stoppage with just under 50 seconds remaining in the fourth. And they will take a knee here.
Well, they certainly didn't appear to be fired up about their options throwing the football. So, to me, this seems like a case of just kind of taking their medicine there, run the ball, see if they could pick up something. Instead, they were throwing for a loss.
First and 10.
About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line. This is just an exercise in futility. Do you even bother running a play here offensively?
I wouldn't, because now is not going to erase what's happened during the game. So after it's over, you're going to go to the film, find out where the game was really lost. But this is not a situation now where you're going to make up for anything.
We'll see what they do here.
Falcons 10.
Well, going into the final play of this game, they knew that they needed some type of a miracle there at the very end, but they couldn't get it done. However, we were treated to really a spectacular affair.
Even though they didn't finish it off, you're exactly right. They took us down to the last play. We're still... You're wondering, could it happen? Possibly, even though we both knew it was a long shot.
So for Minnesota, their good start continues as they get their record up to 4-2. And they'll be able to enjoy this one through the bye week before they get back at it again. Meanwhile, for Atlanta, they taste defeat for the first time this season as they drop to 5-1. And they'll get a home date next week against the Detroit Lions. That'll do it for us. I'm Brandon Gaudin alongside Charles Davis. Thanks to our entire crew as well. We'll talk to you next time. So long, everybody.